Hello, Taylor Elwood, your mad scientist and magical experimenter at Magical Experiments. Today I want to talk about the magic side of that equation. I talked about mad science in the previous video, but I also think that it's important to recognize what we're talking about when we talk about magic. My approach to magic is different from most people's practices, from what I can tell. Don't get me wrong, I have a strong foundation in Kabbalah, Hermeticism, ceremonial and ritual magic, and all that other stuff. But my approach to magic has always been one of develop your own systems of magic. I think that it's important to develop your own systems because ultimately you have to be willing to make magic your own. And so when I talk about the magic aspect of magical experiments, what I'm really talking about is the ability to take a magical activity, a technique, what have you, and be able to take that apart and figure out how it works, why it works, and then make it into your own process, your own technique. Put it back together again, but do it in a way that actually works more effectively for you. I'm not somebody who does a lot with incense or talismans or candles or any of that other stuff. Some people do, and hey, more power to them. For me, my wand is my paintbrush. Um, my athame is my pen. You know, more importantly, so much of what I do is based on experimentation of those original techniques that I've learned, and taking those techniques and stripping away all the window drapings and turning it into something that's functional and efficient. That to me is what magic is about. Finding what's functional and efficient and personalizing it in a way that works for me. Many people would say that my approach to magic is minimalistic, and they'd be right, because it is. What I will tell you, though, is that it's not just up here. I'm not a firm believer in the psychological model of magic. I find it to be highly suspect because you're trying too hard to turn magic into psychology, and that's not what magic is. I'm a firm believer in consistent, achievable results. I'm a firm believer in understanding how magic works and why it works. And I'm also a firm believer that if you're going to work with the spirits, you need to know how to connect with them in a real and meaningful way. But here's the caveat to that. I also believe that pop culture spirits are real. I'm not just talking about your traditional spirits because, hey, let's be brutally honest here. If a traditional spirit was considered mythology at one time, wouldn't we consider that fiction? No, what we're really talking about is something deeper than that. The mythology, the fiction, what have you, it helped us to connect to something deeper. And so for me, that magical practice is about making those subtle and real connections with the spirits, but also linking it to processes and practices that work for you, that are based on your personalization of magic, because you've looked at how magic's done, you've learned the foundation, you learned what it does, and now it's time to take it and make it into something even greater and more successful for you. The reason why magic doesn't work a lot of the times for people isn't because they didn't learn the fundamentals correctly. It's because they hit a roadblock because they're doing something that someone else came up with and they're trying too hard to fit into that person's mold. And guess what? It doesn't work because the frame of reference isn't right. Magic works on your frame of reference. And at the same time, it works on a frame of reference that's connected to the powers that you work with. And you have to find a way to meaningfully connect those together. And that's a big part of what Magical Experiments is about. What I really do is teach people how to personalize their magical work, how to turn it into something that works for them and allows them to achieve consistent results. That's why I'm a believer in magical experiments, and it's why it's the magical part of magical experiments. feel like commenting, feel free to leave a comment below, and feel free to subscribe as well. Thank you so much.